this is not going to take very long. I just kind of want to pass on some information. This is for informational purposes only. I will be glad to give anybody my cell phone number. We can certainly talk to anything, any questions that you have, any concerns you have. But I kind of want to just kind of go back and recap where we're at with the shelter, some things that have taken place at the shelter, and what we're going to be doing moving forward. That's pretty much all this is. First of all, I want to say thank you. It takes a community. You guys have shown already just by being here today that you're concerned. You know, I'm the sheriff of the county, and lots of times I have informational meetings that a lot of people go to. And I'll be honest with you, there's a good bit of people here, sometimes more than there is about community meetings. So that says a lot. So it says you care about animals. I care about animals. Come on in. So I want to say thank you. There's Richard Lee. I won't put him on the spot right now, but I'm going to be talking about him in a few minutes. But I kind of want to just say how we got here, because I have had a tremendous amount of phone calls about how the sheriff ended up with the animal shelter. And so I feel like that warrants us talking about it a little bit. So over probably the last 10 months, maybe even a year, we had recognized at the sheriff's office that a lot of calls that we were going to needed a law enforcement person on call. So there's about 18 sheriffs in the state of South Carolina out of 46 that have control of the shelters. I think moving forward in the future, you'll probably see more. Because, like I said earlier, what was happening in the past was Dillon County, which a lot of counties have private civilian citizens going out for calls for service. And you can't go on private property to investigate crime as a private citizen. So, for example, if we get a call today, it's very hot outside. If we get a call today that it's a high temperature and there's a dog that doesn't have a dog house, just a tarp but in a cage, that would be something that law enforcement could go investigate. But a private citizen can't go on private property to investigate. So county council talked to me and they were like, well, Sheriff, what can we do? What can we do to fix this problem? Because what was happening was they were sending people, and the citizens said, well, hey, get off my property. You don't have a right to be here. You're not law enforcement. So you see where this is going? So you can kind of see. So that's why we ended up where we're at. County council was like, what can we do? I contacted the South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy, talked to a lot of sheriffs about it, and saw the need to have law enforcement at the shelter. That way you can investigate crime, you can go out and you can investigate dog fighting, animal cruelty, any kind of investigation that would take place, that person will be eligible to do so. If not, through the South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy, they don't even offer training. They don't offer any kind of certification. You can't take a private civilian citizen and say, well, I want that person to be trained on animal laws. So that's kind of where we ended up at. County council came back and they said, well, what do we need to do? And I said, I got a tremendous amount on my plate by just being the sheriff alone. If you guys have watched the news here recently, I got a tremendous amount going on. So I don't want to diminish my role as sheriff in any way, because that's what the citizens of Dillon County elected me to do. And I take that as an honor and privilege every day. This is just an additional task that I was tasked with. So the county said, well, what about, and Dietrich Dawkins is here, thank you for being here. I think some other county council may come in, but anyway, we'll see. But county council said, well, what do we need to do? I said, listen, if you guys will be willing to take over the detention center, which is perfectly legal, I will take the animal shelter over because of the need of law enforcement. So that's kind of how we got here. There was a huge need for law enforcement at the animal shelter. I don't know how many people saw here recently the animal fighting case that gained a lot of attention in Dillon and Marion counties. in my 31 years of law enforcement, so that means I started when I was 10. You're supposed to laugh at me. But I've worked many cases, murder, drugs, any kind of case you can think of, but I never got a call from the governor's office to go meet the governor and take a picture with him about animal crimes. So that let me know how things are headed and how animal laws are changing and people starting to recognize the need for animal rights. So, Ms. Lola's not here. Next I'm going to talk about and just introduce my staff, of course, myself, and then Richard Lee, he's in the back. He has been on the patrol side for 16 years, and today is his last day on patrol. And next week he'll report to the animal shelter full-time. So that means someone who has a Class 1 law enforcement certification will be manning the shelter at all times. To me, that's unique. There aren't many counties in South Carolina who have that. There's a lot of sheriffs who have Class 3A, which you can also have at shelters. But we're going to have a Class 1 officer there. Miss Jennifer, she has not come in yet.
She should be here in a minute.
But she's coming. She's coming. She's on the way. And she does an awesome job over there for us. Miss Lola, y'all know Miss Lola? She's the cat lady. Miss Lola is awesome, and she deals with the cats. I'm also going to be bringing on a part-time person, as well as trying to we have 2 inmates who currently help us over there, and we're going to try to get a 3rd inmate to help us over there. I think the elephant in the room is what we're taking on is nothing that Dillon County wants. People created this problem, right? Everybody's not in their head by not taking care of animals, getting spayed, neutered, and everything. And so we're just tasked with the end result is how to deal with it. It wasn't anything that Dillon County said, well, hey, we just want to take all these animals in and have a shelter. That wasn't the case. Remember I said 31 years of law enforcement, but this is like day 2 of me dealing with the animal shelter. So I don't know everything. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't know everything about running a shelter. But I will tell you that, oh, there's Miss Jennifer. How are you? But I will tell you that I have talked to State Law Enforcement Division, Criminal Justice Academy, I've talked to the people that I need to talk to, that I'm comfortable with the relationships, and they've pointed me in the right direction of getting in contact with rescue shelters, the people who try to facilitate taking animals in and getting animals out. It's not the goal of the shelter to take animals in perpetually and just say, I tell you what, we're going to keep these animals. That is not conducive. That's not fair to that animal. There's kennel crazy. After they're in there for a while, it's not a good situation for them to be in. I'm just being honest with you. Consider it like this. I was thinking about it today. I went to the AVMA website and just looking at it. So when you take animals in and you commingle them with other animals, it's like taking what we all know as COVID and just saying, hey, whatever's there is there. Lots of times there's no quarantining, though. There's no way we can do a lot of that kind of stuff just by the sheer amount of space that we have in Dillon County. So, some plans. Oh, let me tell you something that's very exciting. So what I did was I kind of hit the ground running. I kind of saw this coming into play, but I was very strategic in not saying anything because county council could have changed their mind. So I didn't come out and say a lot until I knew it was going to take place. But the prior director over the shelter, as of about 3.5 weeks ago, there was about 130 dogs over there, and today we got 89. So 132 to 89, with just in a short period of time, is tremendous. None of them by euthanization. Okay, so they have gone to rescues and going to where they can be rehomed and go to a proper place. So I just think that may sound, like minuscule, but those are huge numbers. With more rescues on the way. I'm building relationships every day with rescues, and that's what it takes. You've got to build a relationship with these rescues. You've got to be able to get the animals in, treat them, figure out what the medical is. They did do a great job of spay and neuter with the help of some of the local people right here with the Humane Society in Dillon. They've done a tremendous work with trying to spay and neuter a lot of animal population, so which has been really good. One thing that the county did do, and I'm excited about, is I met with the county attorney, we talked about it, and we'll be doing free adoptions. I think that some people are apprehensive about that. We will be doing a vetting process. Some shelters, I was talking to Lexington County Sheriff's Office today, they don't do a lot of vetting. We will do a vetting process. My hope is, I'll be honest with you, the wrong people don't come to the shelter and talk to the sheriff about getting a bulldog. Right? That don't happen. I've talked to a lot of shelters and they say once the sheriff takes it over, they want to make sure there's a clean bloodline. That's what they do, they fight these dogs. They want to know what's going on with the animal. So that doesn't happen as much as you would probably think. So we'll be doing free adoptions, we'll be doing huge vetting. Spay and neuter is going to still continue to go on. One thing I'm tremendously excited about is just trying to get it to where it should have been. Some of the resources that are out there called Shelter Love and some of the logistics, some of the websites you can go on and you can showcase your animals. That just wasn't happening. I'm just being transparent. It wasn't happening. For whatever reason, I'm not pointing fingers or anything like that. I'm just saying it wasn't happening. But we will be trying to do a better job at that. And some of that has been paid for. So there's really no reason to not get these animals rehomed. So we'll be doing a huge push to try to get with Shelter Love. We're trying to get back to the technological area. I think we've been doing a lot by paper over there, which is, anybody knows about paper, this is the way I type anyway, but anyway, it's come a long way. Technology's come a long way, and in order for us to showcase our animals, we gotta get along with the times. Relationship with our local veterinarian, that's gonna be huge. I think in the past, that was not here, but I've talked to Dr. Lucius at the Dillon Animal Hospital, and we're going to try to go back and build a huge working relationship with them. These guys, over the last week and a half, 2 weeks, my hats are off to them because I've been dealing with all kind of stuff as well as this, but we have been cleaning like crazy people. Really have. They've done a tremendous job. The county's brought in help to get some cleaning and stuff like that done. Cleanliness keeps a lot of things out of the shelter. I'm just being honest with you. It keeps a lot of things out of the shelter. Parvo, I lost 2 dogs to Parvo. So I know, I know what that can be like. So cleanliness will be priority. Hours of operation, that's going to change a little bit. We're going to go, I want to try to give an opportunity for people when they get off at 5 to be able to come in to that shelter. So we're going to operate Tuesday through Friday, 10 to 6. We're going to take Monday just to clean, just to try to figure out what, the weekend just to place, figure out getting animals out, but just do it clean. When you get tired of cleaning, you start cleaning again.
That next week?
Yes. Okay. So the hours of operation will change somewhat. So I brought in the law enforcement side of it, and that's what I'm excited about. I can tell you that Richard will also tell you that in Dillon County, I would probably say if we have 10 calls for service, if we have 10 calls, 2 of them are animal related. That's strong. That's 20% of our call volume is probably animal related, and that's in the city and the county. And it can be a dog is on a short leash. It can be they feel like there's not adequate space for the animal. So there's many issues that are brought to our attention. We will have somebody, Richard, his primary goal daily will be go and answer calls for service. Jennifer's role will be to try to maintain the shelter as well as trying to get the shelter love going, get adoptions going, figure out medical needs, those type of things. Miss Lola, remember I said earlier she's the cat lady, that's what she kind of focuses on. My hope is we can, and this is going to be new, I'm just being honest with you, but we can, if we get somebody doing things wrong, charge them. Abandonment is against the law in the state of South Carolina. Right? And give me a thumbs up. It's against the law. So I'm going to push a lot of messaging out when it comes to education about what can and can't happen with animals. You can't just drop animals off anywhere. You can't just leave animals anywhere. So my hope is to sometimes try to do some education when it comes to animal cruelty, those type of things. Educate my officers better. I will tell you that I've contacted South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy as well as SLED, and in South Carolina it's called Title 47. That's what animal laws fall up under, and it's antiquated at best, and it's not real clear. A lot of the laws are old, very, very, very old. And what some people may see is not good situations for animals to be in. It doesn't rise to the criteria to be charged as criminal. I just went to my neighbor's house and it's 100 degrees. Just turned the corner, blew the horn at them, and the dog was out there rolling on the ground just as happy as ever. So keep that in mind. Call, report, but I'm telling you, just because we go to a call, that doesn't mean that anything's criminal is going on. Also, one thing that I would tell you by talking to my law enforcement officers is we get a lot of calls that says, would this house isn't exactly where it needs to be, or this shelter isn't exactly. Those are type things we'll look into. But I can tell you that if you watch that owner sometimes with that animal, they're just as excited to see that animal as any of us in this room. Nothing wrong with you calling. Come on in. Nothing wrong with you calling. We'll check it out. But I'm telling you, that doesn't mean just because nothing is done that it wasn't investigated. It may be that we looked into it and there could be nothing done. That was all they could do. Here's our goal, to keep people with their animals. So I've directed the people at my shelter, if someone comes in and says, hey, I can't take care of this puppy, why can't you? What's going on? Can't feed him. Give him some dog food. Right? Give them food. Help them. I'm not saying that's the best thing in the world, but I'm telling you, that beats the alternative of just people just dropping them off every day. I will go to the solicitor, and I'm telling you, I will try to prosecute these cases that we can prosecute these cases when it comes down to law. What we need help from the community, just like you guys are showing up today. Again, I want to say thank you for coming. We need volunteers. Be careful what you ask for when you say volunteer, because ultimately volunteers, it's tough work over there. It's not easy. I had some ladies come from the beach yesterday, and they came in, and man, they had smelled like Clorox, something crazy. I mean, so that's what you do. It's clean, and when you get tired of cleaning, clean some more. That's the harsh reality of what you're dealing with over there. moving forward. I don't know exactly what was done in the past, but I've been asked about donations and that kind of thing coming into the shelter. I don't know what went on in the past, but I can tell you that me as sheriff, there'll be no kind of funds that come into the animal shelter. If you want to make a donation, you can make it to the local treasurer's office, and we'll show you how to do that. But there'll be no cash over there. There'll be no money coming into the shelter, and that's just because I'm real funny. Just makes things seamless and painless as possible. Some of the other things, I thought I'd cut this off. Y'all want to talk to Tanya Brown?
She wants to talk to you.
Yeah.
Tell her it's chance.
Yeah, I'll go cut it. But I want to change the whole narrative. We've been able to get the numbers down so much this week that I told the inmate to get all the dogs from the outside and put them inside. Now, does that mean that had to happen? No. Will we violate South Carolina law? No. Trust me now when I tell you I searched South Carolina law. Right? So I'm going to find out exactly what we can and can't do. But dogs can be kept outside. Cats can't. I've got a cat. I'm a cat person. I've had 8 dogs, and I just figured out that it just wasn't a good relationship. But I have figured out that I'm a cat person. Don't jump to conclusions all the time. And I'm going to kind of give you a little story. Sometimes when we as law enforcement, we go and investigate a dog that may have malnourished. I could show you a picture of my son. He's 28 now and graduated from the Citadel a couple of years ago. And whenever he was a baby, we just couldn't figure out what was going on. He wouldn't eat. He wouldn't do the things. So I went to the pediatrician and she said, Jamie, I'm going to have to report you to DSS for failure to thrive if things don't get better. Now the reality is I was feeding him. I was shoveling it in every day. He was raised on grits. That was all he would eat. Some animals are like that too. So a person, if you see a dog that might look thin, give us a chance to investigate it, and you might find out they're sick. They don't take the food well. Might not be conducive to their diet. Now, it could be that they're not being fed well. Well, that's up to us to try to figure out. So I'm just saying sometimes we can kind of like jump to the conclusion real quick is that dog's being mistreated. And that's not the case at all. I want to change the whole front of the shelter. I want to try to do some signage, try to make it more conducive to people coming in, saying hello. My hope is I'll have more deputies kind of gravitate to it, so I might have pictures sometimes with deputies, with dogs, and have an animal of the week and cats and stuff like that. So my hope too is it helps build a relationship between my deputies and the community. I mean, what better way would we have to, be a part of the community than to come out here with animals? So that's another thing. In closing, I would just say bear with me. Bear with me. I assure you, when I got elected sheriff, this was not on my agenda to do. So I've accepted this as a challenge, and it's going to be a challenge, but I think, honestly, that we can get it to a better place. I really do. If I didn't think that, I assure you I would not have accepted the task. So beginning Tuesday, we'll open back up. Our hours will be from 10 to 6. And when I say open back up, let me preface it by saying this. Anytime you got a vicious dog or something like that, those are things we're going to get to and address immediately. We have to, by state law. We have to go out and address those type of issues and concerns. Jennifer, anything else?
I'm done.
Yeah. I'm sorry. You got anything else? I want to say thank you. She's been over there for some time, and she's been working very, very hard. And she's going to stay with us. She's going to UNCP, getting her degree. I'm looking for another part-time person. So anybody, there you go. So keep that in mind. Look forward to another part-time. Richard Lee, today was his last day working a regular shift after 16 years. And I would have never taken this on if it wasn't for Richard. He got one of the best dispositions. It doesn't matter if the ceiling's falling out, Richard could be just standing there like, nothing. That's normal. So that's the kind of temperament you have to be able to, it's not a whole lot different. You're going to be under fire over there, too. But anyway, he does a great, great job. Miss Lola just said, leave my cats alone. So I'm leaving the cats alone. Other than that, I'm going to give y'all my number. Let me give everybody my number. And then I told everybody we get in and out of here within a few minutes. I'll be able to stay around if you want to talk, ask questions. I don't mind doing that. But in the interest of time, I have other things, other moving parts. So I'm going to adjourn. But let me give y'all my number. 843 506 2968. Anybody else? Give me my number.
Is there a website available, or will there be something like, not just on Facebook, but where you can post pictures of pet finder or something?
Yep, Shelter Love. I had talked about it a little bit, but I'll talk to you about it in just a second after we kind of let everybody go. Anything else? Hold on, Richard's got something. Hold on.
What's it called? Shelter Love? ShelterLove.com. Yeah.
All right, so I got another situation to go to. So anyway, bear with us. Bear with us. We're going to try to do the right thing. And try to get the shelter in the right direction. If you want to help, volunteer. You know, I want to change the color in front of the door. I want to try to get me a big sign out there with puppies and dogs and cats and stuff. So, you know, I want to do those type of things.
Are you open to Saturdays for those of us that work full-time?
Well, Saturday, I would probably be open to, you know, part-time. And probably, like this Saturday, we're doing, I'm sorry, tell you this, we're doing rabies at what time?
From 10 to 4, right? Rabies.
10 to 4. Rabies. So there'll be a local clinic coming right here.
Sorry, 2:30 to 4.
2:30 to 4.
Is that the
Every Saturday?
Caravan.
3rd, 4th, once a month.
Yeah.
And that's what I was wondering, if you were open to maybe being open on a Saturday
I would-
when Caravan comes once a month.
Yeah. I was thinking about maybe every third Saturday or something, so we're going to try to do
Because we
that.
can do a lot of volunteer work during that time.
Yeah. Last thing I'll do is, I'm a person of faith, so I'm going to close this in prayer. How about that? Dear Lord, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for opportunity to come and serve our community. Pray that you would give us the guidance that we need and be with us and guide our steps. Help us to make the right decisions when it comes to the animals and the shelter. And just be with us as we leave. Keep your hedge of protection around us, and we'll give you all the honor, praise, and glory. Amen. Last thing I'll say, County Council, we don't know exactly what they're going to do, but they're doing, again, thank you, Deatrice, for this. They have found additional funds to, we're going to do some kind of building out back. Some kind of building out back. We don't know exactly what it is, but we're going to be meeting over the next couple of weeks and trying to figure that out and talk about that.
And I'm just gonna say, that is one of my biggest concerns, is how much support are you gonna have from the city and the county?
I think that's a valid question. You know, that's a valid question, and that's,
Just because this is something that I fought decades ago against the county, against the city. I went before the county. I had to get James Boswell from the Florence Animal Shelter to come here to help me try to do something with Dillon County.
yeah,
Just to be able to speak at the county council meeting.
yeah. Yeah.
I've had to sit down with some state administrators in
Yeah.
a sit-down meeting, and I suggested, they were talking about the new animal shelter was like way down on the list of projects to do.
Mhm.
So I was like, well, why can't we take the old prison camp, well, and turn that in, that was a building that wasn't being used, why can't we utilize that? And so it was just, it has just been, I feel like when Dillon County's under fire, oh, let's scramble, let's do something. Council's gonna do something. But when they're not in the spotlight, then all of a sudden, we end up like this again. I mean, and it is a repetitive thing. It's been in the news. This ain't the first time. SLED has been down here multiple times. There's been dogs that were fighting dogs that got stolen out there behind the prison camp and that building out there. I mean,
I got
that
you.
is my concern, because you are one man. You've had to take on so much, and you can only do what the city, county, and state will give you funding to do.
Yeah, yeah. And I will say this, I've had some reassurances by them that, they would have to kind of come across the table. And I will say this, and I don't mean this like, and please don't take it like a boastful way, but I think when an elected official takes it over, they know I have a different mouthpiece too, and I got a right to come to the community. I think they gotta be a little bit different. That's what a lot of sheriffs tell me now. So I'm gonna see how that goes.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
we'll be behind you.
There you go. Yeah. But y'all, I really do, he just told me we gotta shoot. Yeah, on Darwin Street. But anyway,
Really? I'll be going.
yeah. It's in the city, but anyway, we're gonna go around there and help them. And, but I'm available. Call me.